It could be fun times. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Dum Yinzers. This is episode 298. That is two big snacks, everybody. 298. Mike Derpy. Good morning, fellas.
Shout out to Casey Hampton. I like it.
Whoop. Lots and lots and lots of things going on today, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're going to start. You know what, guys? It was such a great weekend. There was one time over the weekend, and it was like right after the Pirates, they beat the whoever the hell they just played, the Nationals. Two times in one day. We just cleaned house in the NFL draft. The Maulers, they get their first win. I mean, it was just crazy sports this weekend, guys. I'm so glad we finally got back to it because I'm not the smartest guy in the world, so I can only contain so much information up here. If we would have had to go another day, I would have forgotten everything. But good morning, guys. We're going to go early. We're going to go often. We're going to go right into this NFL draft. All kind of stuff to talk about, guys. How about you, Derpy? How was your weekend, man?
Good. Pretty good.
Good. You watched the draft?
Yes.
All right. How about you, Mike? How's your weekend, man?
Oh, it was great. It was a little short, but it was great. Oh, man, filled with the draft, filled with actually baseball at one point. And then XFL football. It was a damn good weekend. Hockey. Oh, it was a great weekend.
It was really good. I just want to shout out to the Florida Panthers. It's always nice seeing that President Trophy winner go down in the first round. As crazy as it is, it's still a high percentage that number one seed overall goes down in the first round in hockey almost every year. It's crazy to me. How does this even happen?
They wasted all the time and energy chasing after the President's Trophy and having like the record for like what wins or points or something. They put all their energy towards that instead of gearing up and playing smart hockey down the stretch for the playoffs and coming back and bite them in the ass.
It's wild. It's wild. Pace yourself, fellas. You gotta pace yourself. I mean, yes, it's nice to get that best record in the league. And you know what? I guess even after all, when you look back, you could always say, hey, we won the President's Trophy that year. So I mean, that's an accomplishment. But that's where these teams, they don't want to stop there. They want to win it all. But unfortunately for those teams that they pull that position, they have a very, very hard time not just winning it, but getting out of the first round against the 8th seed. In this case, I believe it was the 14th seed overall, Florida Panthers. So that says a lot to that topic. But you know what? I don't want to sit around and talk about the Bruins all day. That's just depressing me. I keep thinking of the Brad Marchand and his nose. And let's talk something good. Let's talk Steelers. Let's talk draft. Let's talk. I guess Friday we got to talk a little bit. Our number one pick of the whole entire draft was Broderick Jones. The tackle from. Where's he from, Mike?
Georgia.
From Georgia. This draft, we might as well just shedded everybody and just drafted Big Ten in Georgia and just said, forget everybody else, because that's all we did. Every draft pick was either from the Big Ten or from Georgia. And you know what? It went good. I think that a lot of the people nationwide, a lot of the people local side, everybody thinks that the Pittsburgh Steelers had a pretty good draft. And, according to
arguably the best one, maybe two. I think the Philadelphia Eagles really kicked ass. I think the Houston Texans had a really great draft. They started early, started off, and they went in and got that second and third pick overall. The Giants drafted well. The Cardinals drafted well. A bunch of teams. But I think overall that this was, as they're coining it, an A+. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, A+. I have no problem with that right now because every pick hit a need. We drafted for like every position we needed except for inside linebacker, but there's still free agents out there that we can get. I thought this draft was an A+. It was insane. The way everything fell perfectly.
How about you, Derby? Was this draft, this 2023 NFL draft for the Pittsburgh Steelers, would you say it was an A+?
Yeah,
I would agree.
Like Mike said, we got every need.
Now, my one concern is just depth overall at the linebacker position.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, we did bring in Nick Herbig, of course, the younger brother of Nate Herbig.
But you know what? They're still, in my opinion, we're thin at all four linebacker positions. If any one of our main four go down, I mean, you're dipping into your who's the Mark? What was his name? Mark Johnson. Mark.
No. Oh God.
Robinson. You got Mark Robinson. Nick Herbig. I mean, but you really have depth. I don't really,
because I'm looking at the depth chart right now.
I think we're going to sign Jack.
I do too. We're going to get back into that in a second. But who are these two guys that they even have following up Watt and Highsmith on the depth chart?
Right now, we got Emeka Ugablue is on the ESPN depth chart behind TJ Watt. He's been in the league since 2019. I really don't know a whole lot about him. Outside of Highsmith, we brought back Quincy Roche, who we originally drafted in the 6th round, 2021. He's bounced around the NFL. I think he's been with the Giants most recently. Then inside linebackers, like you said, we have Mark Robinson, then Tay Crowder. He's also been in the league since 2000, originally drafted by the Giants. I heard of him because he went to Georgia. He's another one of those Georgia Bulldogs. God, his most productive year was 2021. He had 130 tackles.
Oh, so
wow. So he can play a little. So
was that where, in Seattle?
New York. The Giants. Yeah, he played. Yeah. That was his most productive year. Since the other 2 years, he's averaged around let's call it 50 tackles a year, but he had that real big year in 2021. So that's not bad depth right there. Like with him, I kind of like that, but I wouldn't mind another veteran coming in, especially in the middle and on the outside.
As terrible as he was, I mean, even Malik Reed was something there last year.
Yeah.
I caught wind of what Derpy was saying earlier. I do think unless something crazy happens, I don't see anything that would be wrong with bringing back Miles Jack. Where he's at with it upstairs, who knows? But I would not have a problem with Miles Jack coming back to be in this lineup. As we said, you lose one of these guys, you lose TJ, you lose Alex, one of the two new inside linebackers with a blown ACL. They're out all season. Then we're going to start saying, man, we got a little bit of an issue here. But you bring Miles Jack, who didn't have a bad year. I mean, he had right around 100. I don't remember if it was a little more or a little over. But the guy, the big problem was these insides, they were unable to produce a single turnover, which was a problem. But if you do everything that you just did, as the Pittsburgh Steelers did in this offseason, and then bring Miles Jack back in, I think we'll be okay with that. And also that creates depth. The guy knows the system. He knows the defense. I have no problem. I would love to see Miles Jack back.
Yeah, I would too. My God. I think I would start him and Holcomb and have Landon Robinson. Yeah, I know they signed him for a long-term contract for 3 years. Have him be that alternate inside linebacker. I think between the three of those, that would be a nice rotation. Then you still have Mark Robinson, and you still have Tay Crowder. Like I said, they had a pretty good year a couple years ago. So that would be a nice little mix at inside linebacker. If they can make it work financially, I would love to have Miles Jack back.
I tell you what, as I said, I mean, just from last draft alone and this draft, you have three of the Georgia Bulldogs from last year's championship team, at least, in Broderick Jones, Darnell Mount Washington, and George Pickens. Putting, that's a nice little start, especially on offense. They're coining this Darnell Washington. They're saying this guy could play tackle even. He's 6'7", 264 pounds. So we brought a lot in from that Georgia team, as did that scumbag team across the state, which would ultimately be a great Super Bowl someday down the road. I'm not saying this year, but it would be a neat Super Bowl. Everybody's always wanted to see the Keystone Super Bowl. If both of these teams keep drafting Georgia players, that might happen sooner than later.
I think it's likely.
You know what? There's a lot of AFC teams out there. We got to get good. We got to get real good. And the thing is, we don't know. We could come out this year. We could lay an egg. Like I said, we made all these moves. Maybe these guys don't build a cohesiveness. Maybe they don't vibe. There's still a lot to be. Still a lot to be said. We don't know what kind of team that we are going to have. I would like to think that it's going to be a good team, but it's going to be a young team. We have a lot of young guys. But anyway, the couple of the things from this draft that I did want to mention is the family friendly atmosphere. Bringing Joey Porter Jr. and of course is our first pick in the second round. Of course, the Herbigs,
I do think, however, we're going to be parting ways with a family member on this Steeler team because of specifically the Darnell Mount Washington pick, because we are no longer in the need of Derek Watt.
No.
Derek Watt's a good guy. It was fun. It was fun while he was here, family, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? When it's all said and done, it's all about football. We could put Connor Hayward back in the backfield at a fullback position, play Darnell Mount Washington at a tight end. This guy, he seems so versatile, guys. I can't wait to watch this mountain of a man play football, this Darnell Washington. I got to be honest with you. I kind of jokingly said to Mike, if you've seen any coverage, there's only one highlight. This guy catches the ball, he breaks a tackle, then he jumps over somebody, and then he gets about 8 more yards, and he gets tackled down a sideline. There wasn't many other highlights on Darnell Washington, which is I'm kind of skeptical. But you know what?
I've seen some more since we talked about that.
Have you?
I was pulled up some more, and the funny thing is they're all similar. They're all him making a catch, jumping over someone, making a catch, plowing someone over. They showed him run blocking.
Yeah,
he was just blowing people up. So yeah, there's more out there, but like you said, it does feel like people keep showing the same 3 highlights over and over and over again. So it does kind of make you
skeptical. Great highlights. I mean, if I would have done any one of those things in my lifetime, I'd be thrilled.
Yeah. But I think why people keep showing just those couple is because all the other highlights look the same. Just
really different,
going up against different opponents. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about him.
And some of these picks, these guys are very versatile. I'm talking about this, of course, Darnell Washington. He could also play tackle. I mean, he's known as the 6th lineman, in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And then also the Spencer Anderson, the offensive lineman out of Maryland, our 7th round pick. This guy could play center. He could play both guards. He could play tackle. The guy's 6'5", 305. So we have a lot of good problems to have here with this team heading into the summertime, getting ready for camp, things like that. And we still, as you said, we still have more free agent signings to do things like this. So I mean, we have a lot, like I said, a lot of good problems to have. There's gonna be a lot of competition in this draft, in this camp. Rudy, I was just going to ask you guys, what do you guys think about are they going to bring Mason Rudolph back? We got also the guy that we drafted from Minnesota. Also, I mean, there's talk.
The Minnesota guy would be all right.
I'm sure we could probably pay him peanuts. And then there's also, besides myself, I'm not the only one saying either an AJ McCarron or a Ben DiNucci from the XFL wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to fill that number 3 spot. So, I mean, what do you guys think? Where are we going to be as far as our number 3 quarterback come September?
I wouldn't surprise me if.
I'd rather have an older vet.
We got one in Trubisky for number 2. So for 3, it wouldn't surprise me if Tanner McGee does have a good camp that he would be the number 3. But it wouldn't surprise me too, if after the XFL and USFL are done, okay, seeing who's there, gauging interest with them. Maybe these guys want to go to a team where they think they might have a chance to start. But if we can get one of them to where, like, hey, you come in, you just be a backup, get their foot back into the NFL. If we can convince them that way, I would love to have like McCarron or DiNucci, but it might have to be someone not as good or as well known as them want them to come in as a backup,
right,
as a number 3, as a 3rd string guy. When you're not going to you're not going to come in, you're not competing with Kenny, you're not even going to compete with Trubisky for the number 2. You're going to have to fight with that undrafted rookie to be that 3rd quarterback. Otherwise, you might fall back onto the practice squad.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. I wouldn't have a problem with any of the 2 quarterbacks from the XFL. I wouldn't even have a problem with Rudolph coming back. He knows the offense. He knows the system. He knows the team.
It's a plus.
They put him out there. They were comfortable with him. They never changed anything on the offense when he was there. So I wouldn't have a problem with it. It looked like him, Rudolph, Trubisky and Pickett all had a good relationship. And like I've said in the past, you're building a team. You want people to be able to communicate and gel together. And that's why I'm a proponent of keeping Trubisky, because the way him and Kenny work together. And if you bring Mason back, it looked like all 3 worked well together. And that would be a plus, because I think all 3 of those quarterbacks would do well in the offense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you got, a couple of these guys coming from the XFL. I just want to take 1 second. Hey, good morning to P, man. How you doing, brother? He is on the board today.
Yeah, hey, P.
P. Pieces. I'm slightly larger than the average, 6 foot 210. You'd be a good DB in my book, P. We'll take you on our team any day, my man.
Put him at like free or strong safety coming down into the box and
just
killing people.
Get that Morton shirt ready. But let's see. So yeah, I agree, guys. I think that, especially these guys from the XFL, they just played a whole season. And on top of that, they've had successful seasons in the XFL. Yeah. They were able to get out there, do their thing, throw the ball around and play meaningful football. So at the end of the day, you get any of these guys, especially like I was saying, the two that I mentioned off the top, I think either one of these guys would be fine for the number 3 position for what it is. Yeah. You can't go wrong. But as you said, I mean, who's going to want to sit at that 3rd position? But if there's anything that I do know that the con artist Omar Khan will figure it out.
Con artist, yes.
The Pittsburgh Steelers football team. Derpy.
Yes.
One thing that I noticed about this weekend, Derpy, was Broderick Jones. He popped up on Friday. He showed up at the airport.
Yeah.
In Pittsburgh, and they put him to work. He was already at the zoo petting giraffes. He was already at the old folks home. He was already doing charities for children. This number 1 spot, that's no joke, right?
Nope.
You get all the responsibility thrown on you. I saw that. I was jealous of him, man. He was out there petting giraffes and stuff, handling snakes.
Same treatment like with TJ when we drafted him. They were welcome to Pittsburgh instantly.
Almost. There's two positions that have this instant job. It's the Super Bowl MVP, who's off to Disney World the following morning. I mean, there's no time. You win that Super Bowl, you're already on the magical mountain castle, whatever it is. But then also, again, as I mentioned, Broderick Jones, the number 1 draft pick for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. They have this guy to work, but it's awesome. You know what? There's so many things about Broderick Jones to love. He seems like a humble guy. He seems like a smart guy. He seems like a hard worker. And if there's anything that, that I do pick out from what he says when he talks, he just loves football. And we're putting together this, as Mike mentioned, in the trenches was the heavy thing going into this year's draft. And Broderick Jones, certainly he fits that bill to me. He's just, he loves football. They wanted to get their tough guys in the trenches. Yep. And Mike, I couldn't be happier with this number 1 overall pick with Broderick Jones.
No, me either, man. He was like watching highlights of him. In pass protection, just engulfing people. Like they are absorbed into him. And then on the run game, my man is a bully.
The run game
he was out there just plowing people over. He would
go out
pancaking. He would pick up DBs and just slam them to the ground like they were nothing. It was a sight to behold, and I loved it. He was just aggressive. He was going out looking for contact, but he was playing within himself, not going too aggressive. Yeah, that's the knock too. Like sometimes he does get too aggressive, but I want that.
I do too.
You can tamper that down. It's easier to tamper it down than have to get someone fired up week after week. This is a guy, like, if they're getting players that are self-motivated, ready to go, where they don't need the rah speech, and this guy's ready to go. And one thing I liked about him, 0 sacks.
I was just going to say that was going to be the next words out of my mouth. He had 0 sacks and over 450 offensive pass plays. Who was the fellow opposite side of him? Because he hasn't let up a sack in 2 seasons. I don't remember who it was.
I can't remember who's on the other side. That's insane.
Somebody took the other guy, and it's been 2 seasons since he's given up a sack. Yeah. So, I mean, Georgia's really doing some good stuff down there as far as putting their teams together. And you know what? As far as they keep doing that, we'll keep cherry picking it in the draft because we're really putting together a nice little team here.
I think he had one holding penalty or 1 false start penalty. Jeez. I think it might have been a false start penalty. So he's very, very smart, a very disciplined player. I love it.
Let's go over the 2nd through 7th round picks, because the last time we were on, everybody, we were here. We talked about the number 1 draft pick, and we were on the clock. The last time I talked to these two fools, we had the number 2 pick coming up. There was a lot of speculation that the Steelers were going to take this draft pick and they were going to trade it or go backwards with it or do something. But the fact of the matter is they kept that number 2 pick, which would have been the very first pick in the 2nd round. And they went with who I think 90% of the people, honestly, truly in their heart, believed it was going to be coming here. And it was Joey Porter Jr. You know what's funny about this, guys? You see all the pictures when he was a kid and Joey's carrying him around. He has a Steelers shirt on. And you know how in every situation you see a kid and let's say, you were at a family get together and a kid had his Steeler jersey and you're like, here he is. He's going to be a Steeler one day. This situation actually came true because I'm sure people said that back then. Hey, look at little Peasy. He's going to be a Steeler one day. And you know what? They couldn't have been more prophetic and more forward thinking, because Joey Porter Jr. was at home. He's seen the 412 pop up on his cell phone. He knew at that point, you know what? I'm going to the Steelers. I'm coming home. He hopped in his car, drove from his home. Right down.
I want the draft calls released.
What's that?
I want the draft calls released.
Yeah, that'd be great.
To hear it was said. Yeah.
And he made his way down to the facility, talked to the media, talked to the staff, got to hang out with everybody. Really cool stuff. I'm glad we got JPZ Jr. Of course, that there was still guys out there that could have been, just as good or maybe even a better pick at the cornerback position. But I think people in Pittsburgh are happy with Peasy. I think the other moves that we made in the defensive backfield is certainly going to help him along as far as maybe bringing Patrick Peterson over. And even this gentleman we brought over from Minnesota, the Eagles / Minnesota, on the night of the last day of the draft. I'm not finding his name.
I can't remember who it is.
Yeah, I can't. Chandon Sullivan, a cornerback. He's about a 4 or 5 year veteran in the league.
He's like a slot.
He did play under the Andy Weidel team when Andy Weidel was a part of that Philadelphia team over there.
So of course he's coming to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, right. So that's interesting. I think that's going to help as well. And then also, guys, a steal. Everyone's telling me this is a steal. Corey Trice Jr. out of Purdue. Now
he is a steal.
Now you Big East, I'm sorry, not you Big East, you Big Ten guys. You're gonna have to fill me in a little bit on these guys, because everyone is saying that he's a steal. You know what? That's good news. Anybody got any scoop on this Corey Trice Jr.?
Big bodied corner. He fell only because people thought he might be injured, have an injury concern. And that's the only reason he fell. He should have been taken 3rd round, possibly. He was ranked pretty high, and he's damn good. Another physical corner, which is what the Steelers go after. And I think it was a great pick. I think another, like you said, man, that was a steal.
Yeah, that's everything. Everything I keep reading about this guy. He's a steal. You're lucky to get him. You're so lucky. So I love hearing it, but like I said, I'm just not. My Big Ten knowledge is a little lacking. So I got to turn to you for this information.
I'm looking up for some more stuff right now. Here we go. Yeah,
he was ranked defense basically.
Yeah, he really was. He what do you have? He had. Let's see. I'm taking a look at his. I'm just going Pro Football Focus. He had really good. He graded out really well in PFF. Okay. If you go by their rankings, he had 2 picks last year, 1 for a touchdown. Passer rating against him was 51.3%. So teams really weren't completing a lot of passes on him. Let's see, 44 targets, 21 receptions for a total of 220 yards. So that's damn good right there. You weren't putting up a lot on him. Yes, it was over about 10 yards per completion, but only 50% of your passes are being completed towards him. And every year he was in college, that passer rating and completion percentage against him dropped. But he got better year after year in college. Last year was his breakout year, and he played really well. I watched the one game that Penn State and Purdue played against each other, so I really don't have that big knowledge of him, but he played pretty well in that Penn State game.
I'm excited to see this guy. Derby, do you recall any Corey Trice Jr. in the Ohio State games?
No. Okay. But I do know that he was basically their defense, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Purdue is not a football. Let's just say not a football school.
No, after Drew Brees, no. Yeah, but he played pretty well, even against some of the better teams in Ohio State or at Ohio State. I'm sorry. Yeah. The Big Ten, he played pretty well against them, held his own. And like I said, people were shocked that he was available even after the 3rd round. Let's see, he was the 14th overall rated cornerback.
And there was a lot of guys still.
And we drafted him at pick 241. So yeah, he should have been.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Who's in jeopardy of losing their job as far as defensive backs on the Steelers team this year?
Yeah, James Pierre. God. Arthur
If
Millette.
I tell you what, if
Arthur
Witherspoon
Millette
would step up and have the kind of season he was starting to have 2 years ago,
oh yeah,
we could have an even better problem.
Yeah, we'd have a better problem. Let's see. I like James Pierre, that Shandon Sullivan. I don't know. Arthur Millet's pretty good on special teams. It's going to come down to Witherspoon. I think Levi Wallace is safe. James Pierre, Millette, even that
Levi
guy
was their best corner.
Oh yeah, Levi was our best corner. So I'm penciling in our starters right now: Patrick Peterson, Levi Wallace, key backup Joey Porter. If he produces well, Witherspoon. But we have to figure out who's going to play the slot. Is that going to be Sullivan? Is that going to be Pierre? Because Porter's an outside guy, Peterson's an outside guy. Try and put Witherspoon and Wallace in there too to have your higher end guys out there. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. There's a lot of corners, and I would look at Witherspoon, Millette, Pierre as being the ones who are on the bubble right now.
I got another question. I'm jumping a position here, but something that you said reminded me of this. People that play special teams. Now, I think that Nick Herbig is going to be a special teamer. I think he's undersized at this point. They're going to probably try to add a little weight to him. I mean, he's impressive in his highlights, but when you think of an NFL special team or kickoff team kind of guy, I think of this Nick Herbig. Now, I want to know something about him. I'm asking you guys because you are Big Ten savvy. What am I missing? He is. I mean, he's undersized. He moves quick. He has this quick move to get to the quarterback once he kind of positions himself. But there's a lot of people saying that this guy was, he's up there as far as the linebackers go on in the NFL or in the NFL draft this year. What's the deal with Herbig? Some people tell you he's amazing, but like I said, I'm looking at the guy. I don't know. What do you guys think about Nick Herbig?
It's just undersized and like being athletic. His athleticism is not up there with.
He seems like an ideal special teamer.
He has some good. Yeah, he's going to be good special teams. He is a little bit athletic, but not like overly athletic as Trenton Simpson, who went to the Ravens. Excuse me. So I think he got knocked there, undersized. So he was still. He's a tweener. They don't know, is he going to play edge? Is he going to play inside linebacker? So that was like the knock against him. Where are you going to put him? What type of defense is he going to be into? Is he going to have to be in, that run stuffer in a 3-4? Is he going to be that off-ball coverage linebacker in 3-4? Is he going to be an outside, zone coverage guy in a 4-3? Or because, he can't put his hand in the dirt, be a 4-3. He was hard to evaluate because he is such a tweener. It's like, where are you going to play him on your defense? But I think in Pittsburgh, they're going to make him an edge. And, we had some undersized outside, 3-4 linebackers who can beat you with speed and power in the past. So why give it a try there? If you play him on special teams, he's going to kick ass there. Get some weight on him. I think he can be a pretty effective outside linebacker.
I hope to see that because for a few reasons, of course. I mean, as we were talking about the depth at the linebacker position, especially outside, that could be a big thing there. I just think that, there's a lot of talk about Nick Herbig. There's a lot of upside to this guy. And, like I said, I think that he's a perfect special teams guy for right off the bat. You could get him playing and get him involved on special teams, kickoff team, things as such. But, like I said, I'm just real curious. A lot of really good talk about the guy. I mean, I'm watching on social media. I'm watching on TV. They have nothing bad to say about him. But as I said, as I'm watching the highlights, I'm watching, he is a bit undersized. And but you know what? Maybe that's what we needed, guys. Maybe we needed us another Herbig in this organization.
you need, like his brother said at his introductory press conference, he said, you need to go get him.
Yeah.
What did he say? He's a beast. He's an animal or whatever he was saying.
Yeah.
He's like, I should be his agent. But no,
he said, I could block anybody in this league except for Nick Herbig.
Except Nick Herbig. He's a high motor guy. He's not going to quit.
Right.
He's going to rely more on grit and determination, probably more than raw power.
Right.
And he's going to have to use the speed.
And you like them kind of guys. You know what I mean?
Speed and determination, he's not going to overpower you. He adds talent. It's just, where is he going to play? That's like this part of the draft. This is why guys fall. It's like, you see the talent.
Yeah.
You see the heart. You see the determination. It's like, but where is he going to play?
Right.
And that's what gets difficult to evaluate these
him. I could totally see him being somewhere else and just being that guy, that grit, that heart, that determination. And that's the guy that, he pops up at big times.
Yeah.
Maybe, just maybe he might be the guy that takes over Spillane's spot when we're playing a team like Baltimore.
Yeah.
Or, that guy that just comes up big because he is that guy. He plays with a lot of heart. And I think that Spillane would have fell in that category as well.
And he's kind of the same size as our inside linebackers.
Right.
So I why not? Is he going to go outside? Is he going to go inside? He might be the guy who starts his career on the outside, then goes to the inside linebaker position.
Tell me
to get him more reps.
Tell me a little bit about the guy that played next to him, Keanu Benton.
Please,
yes. Mike,
Derpy, go ahead.
No, that's a steal.
That is this dude was projected to be
underrated steal ever.
Really?
He was projected to be taken in the first round.
Wow.
Yeah.
And we didn't get him till the third round, correct?
Until the round 2, pick 49.
Yes, it would have been our third pick. I'm sorry.
Yeah. They showed footage of him playing lining up over center, just grabbing center, tossing to the side like he was nothing.
Yeah.
There's go ahead, Derby. No, go ahead.
There's this one highlight I saw of his tape, and it was against Minnesota, who's arguably up there with the top lines of the Big Ten most of the time.
Yeah.
And they triple team him with 3, big linemen, and he got through it and got to the quarterback with his strength. That's all I need to say right there.
Wow.
Yeah, he was once again PFF against pass rush was 83. They graded him out. A run defense grade was a 65, but I think they more or less used him as, sounds like they use him more as a pass rushing. Whereas here he's going to be used for, I'm hoping, at that size and strength to almost like the Casey Hampton role. We're going to have you just plug up that middle. He can play, over the tackle. He can play over the center, over the guard tackle. He can bounce around all through that line. Me personally, I'd plug him in day one, right in between Cam Hayward and Ogunjobi, and go figure it out, kid.
Yeah.
Watch and learn from these two, figure it out. Because my God, his athleticism, I put him in there. I just put him in there because our run defense needs help, especially up the middle.
Yeah.
And our inside linebackers last year kept getting ran over because no one was really eating up those blocks up front. But you get those 3 big bastards in the front line, I would love it. I think they can just eat up space, and I want those guys to going back to just eating up space. If you get a sack, that's great. I don't want our edge rushers fighting or ends in the 3-4 alignment up front, trying to get double-digit sacks like our outside linebackers. To go back to being that base of just we're gonna eat up double and triple teams, let the other 4 do everything else. We're going to take up space. And if they go back to that philosophy and you add Benton into the mix, that line, you're solving a lot of issues in that run game.
Let me go back. We're going to give you the update or the list of the 7 draft picks that the Pittsburgh Steelers made. Number 1 was Broderick Jones out of Georgia. Number 2, we essentially traded the Chicago Bears, Chase Claypool for Joey Porter Jr. I'll take that one any day.
That's a win. A win is a win.
A win is a win.
Con artist.
The con artist. The 3rd pick that we had was Keanu Benton, the defensive lineman from Wisconsin. Number 4 was Darnell Mount Washington, a tight end out of Georgia, 6'7", 264.
On the same side.
And this gentleman could also play the line. He loves to block. I think that we're going to do some crazy, amazing things with him.
Imagine him and Moof on the same side.
You're going to get that. You're going to get a little bit of everything. And you got you still got Gentry as well. So there's going to be a lot of different looks. It's going to, there's no reason that the offensive coordinator shouldn't be able to put together an amazing game plan, because there's not very many holes in this team. We just filled a lot of holes. Number 5 pick was Nick Herbig, the linebacker out of Wisconsin. Number 6 was Corey Trice Jr., the corner out of Purdue. And finally, Spencer Anderson, the offensive lineman out of Maryland. He can play center, guard, tackle, 6'5", 305 pounds. Not too many bad things about this draft. I mean, if there's anything from this draft, Mike, what would you say would be the one thing, if any, that would be something that's not favorable to the Steelers fans, franchise, whatnot?
We didn't address inside linebacker.
I would agree.
Like if we would have stayed put with our fourth pick and not traded down to pick up Washington in the extra pick, and we, who was it? Trenton Simpson was sitting right there. We could have taken him, and like once we moved down, like a run of the inside linebackers just kept coming off the board. But it's hard to tell. Like are those linebackers going to be better than Washington? So. And how we use Washington. I don't have a problem with the Washington pick. I loved it, but it was just like, oh God, man, if we couldn't got one of those damn good inside linebackers,
right,
that would have been the cherry on top of this draft. But to me, right now, this draft is an A+, and it would have been the same thing even if we drafted the inside backer. But like I said, I don't know what Herbig's going to be. Is he going to be outside, inside? So
I think when Mike was talking about that trade back, we had the number 80 pick and we traded back for 93 and 132, which I think we all, I think everybody
worked out well.
That. I think Omar wanted to get his 7 picks in.
Yeah, and it allowed us to get Herbig.
Absolutely. So now I'm going to talk about we got to just shortly after the draft, and some even during the draft, a couple players that we did pick up also out of the undrafted free agent pool. A couple of these guys I find very interesting. Number one being Jordan Byrd, the running back out of San Diego State. Now, this guy is going to be helping in the return with Calvin Austin. As far as from what I heard, this guy is fast. I'm watching highlights. He's running like 22 miles an hour, burning by people for punt returns, kickoff returns. Jordan Byrd, Mike, if you could pull him up real quick, see what we can find out on Mr. Byrd, because he, I think is going to be highly effective. He got wheels on him. This guy.
If I knew how to spell, oh my God.
Yeah.
Where did he go to school? I'm sorry.
San Diego State.
Oh, San Diego. San Diego means whale's vagina.
Oh, Aztecs, man. Right?
Yeah, San Diego Aztecs. I really don't have a whole lot on him.
He's listed as an RB.
I see. I have him listed as like a wide receiver, so he'll
be at the far. He'll be at the far end of the depth chart, if he does make the team. But the guy's wheels, I think, puts him in as a front runner.
Yeah, I was just watching some highlights of my man can fly, and hey, for an undrafted rookie free agent, why not give him a chance? And like you said, let's see what he can do.
I can't wait. We are so due for an amazing returner. And I thought Sims was doing really well last year.
Me too.
We went and got rid of Sims. I thought he was doing really well. Hopefully this guy, and as I said, if the rumors are true, Calvin Austin will return some as well. I can't wait to see these two speedsters returning the ball. Monte Potabon from the fullback from Iowa. Mike, you was talking a little bit about him yesterday.
Oh God, Yinzer fans are gonna love him here. They already love him. He got the mullet and everything. And
people
Monte Potabon.
Yeah,
yeah. People are already saying that he's going to be the starting fullback. Just he's in. Look at him. He looks like a stellar. Put him in, and Yinzers love him already. I hope he pans out because he does look like that fullback that you would love to have on your team.
Connor Hayward for that fullback position.
He is going to be fight out. Hey, if he pans out, Connor Hayward pans out. We have nice little some athletes there. I know that Tannenbaum's an athlete. He's a woman. So this team looking fullback. I'm intrigued by him.
That's why I like this team, because they're bringing the mullet back. And the thing, the mullet's not the most amazing haircut ever. However, you get one of these teams where like all the guys start wearing the mullet. They you know what I mean? It gives you more ways to vibe with your teammates.
Yes.
And bring that to your team. Also, Mike, the quarterback that we brought from the undrafted free agent pool, Tanner Morgan. You talked a little bit about him earlier out of Minnesota. He might be an okay third string guy, but again, we're going to see how that third string position plays out as far as quarterback goes. We got Mason Rudolph can be an option. The guys from the XFL, USFL, Tanner Morgan, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, your guy Jordan Byrd, he had, let's see, 1 punt return for a touchdown, 1 kickoff return for a touchdown, and 1 receiving touchdown this year.
Okay.
And then 3 rushing touchdowns. So he was used a little all over the place. So yeah, but he's going to be, if that speed, man, and I want to see what he can do. Like you said, man, I want to see what he can do in the return game.
Couple edge rushers.
Oh, man.
couple edge rushers we brought. We got David Perales, edge rusher from Forenzo State. And also this kid we got from the D3, Merrimack College. Anybody see this?
No.
James Nyamwaga. He's a edge rusher from Merrimack College. James Nyamwaga. So those
what college?
Merrimack. MERRIMACK, I believe. And then also, so we got those couple guys coming. We brought in on the free agent, the undrafted free agent level. So I mean, we're gonna get a good look at some edge rushers, some people that could maybe play that position. Ooh. We do got to build some kind of depth though at that edge.
Oh yeah.
What do you think, Derpy?
Yeah.
Yeah, this dude from Merrimack, my God, 6'5", 305.
Ooh. That's the same size as our seventh pick.
Yeah,
Spencer Anderson. He's literally 6'5", 305.
Wow. That's a mountain of a man.
So we got him, and then also the other let's see, Iowa State center, Trevor Downey, the Cyclone.
The Cyclone. See, he had this guy had 27 tackles last year, 6.5 for loss.
Merrimack,
and 5.5 sacks.
Okay.
Hey man, showing some moves there to get to the quarterback.
Some of these undrafted guys, they're diamonds in the rough. You gotta at least consider them. Did you say you gotta kick them?
No, we got a kicker.
I was like, kick them to see if they work. We did get a kicker. BT Potter from Clemson. I think they said he's kicking them about 75% in college.
No, that's not good. That's not good.
And the thing, he's not going to beat out Chris Boswell. You're probably just bringing him in for camp purposes.
That's a camp leg right there. Yeah.
But besides for that, that's all of our undrafted free agents to this point. Of course, earlier we did mention the Chandon Sullivan, the cornerback. So I think he's gonna. There's gonna be a lot of good battles. This camp is gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And as I said, there's gonna be more good problems than bad problems, and that's always good stuff. One other player, Mike, that you did mention, Dorian Thompson. He did end up going to the Cleveland Browns. You mentioned him last week. We were talking about possible third string quarterbacks for the Steelers. Dorian Thompson, of course, from UCLA, the quarterback. He ended up going to the Browns. So whether he makes it or not, we'll get the.
The Browns also got our Mike Tomlin's buddy DeJuan Jones.
Yeah, you know what? If Mike Tomlin is, if what he said is true,
I love it. Then
I love it. It makes sense.
I just hope my man doesn't use that as motivation.
Yeah.
But then if he does use it as motivation, good luck, buddy. You got to go up against TJ Watt.
Yeah. Derpy. The really important question I saved for you, my friend. Are you there?
Yes,
Derpy.
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Derpy, how big of a problem do you think this is? Is it a huge problem? Not a problem at all, or kind of a problem? Now, of course, what I'm talking about over the weekend, there was a country music concert, which I don't really pay much attention to. However, QB1, Mr. Pickett showed up on the stage, comes out, shotguns a beer. And it seems to me it's these fans from Cleveland that thinks this is a problem. The guy, the team that has a quarterback with 130, all these sexual charges and everything else. They seem to think there's a problem with Kenny Pickett coming out in the offseason, who's been working his ass off since the day the season ended, mind you. Gets up there on the stage with a famous singer and shotguns a beer. Place goes crazy. I can't imagine how this is a problem to anybody. Grown man. Didn't cause any problems. Do you see this? Because you're more in the direction of Cleveland, not too close, but closer than I am. Is this a problem?
No.
It's kind of stupid, ain't it?
It's here's my thing. It could be worse. It could be Johnny Manziel, but
right.
It's not. It's just he was just having fun.
Or nobody got
Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel was just having fun.
Yeah,
No, he wasn't. He He was at the mentality state of where Antonio Brown was.
Who's this
right now?
Manziel.
Johnny Manziel. Like my favorite thing about this whole Kenny Pickett thing is like people were showing it, and all the comments I see are like, yeah, that's cool. And then the next day is, I can't believe people have a problem with this. And I'm trying to find the tweets of people having a problem with it.
I want to know the people that are having a problem. Like I said, it's the team that has the quarterback with all the sexual misconduct charges.
Yeah, but I'm seeing a lot of Steeler fans going, I can't believe other Steeler fans have a problem with this. And I'm looking through trying to find where Steeler fans, I'm not the biggest Kenny guy. Even I didn't have a problem with it. So I can't find any. I was just like, it was just wild. It went from this is cool to the next day, the same people who said it was cool were going, I can't believe people were having a problem with it without providing proof of anyone having a problem with it. It was like, it is what it is, you know? Yeah. Hey, it could have been worse. He could have been, tell my kid to shut up.
I just can't.
Hey,
where's the problem?
There's no problem. I have more
of a
problem.
There's no problem. It's just, he was having fun.
I have a problem with Travis Kelce spiking the Lombardi trophy.
Yeah.
Did anyone see that? My man
used
it as as a beer luge and then spiked the Lombardi trophy. Gaius, my child, you shut up over at the main studio.
So that I like I said, I really have no problem. I have zero. I can't even circle what the problem would be in this situation. Again, I think it's just people being stupid. Speaking of stupid people, before we move on, guys, the Antonio Brown. Is this true or is this not true? Is he signing with the Ravens or is he not? Was he just talking shit? Last thing I heard, he was getting arrested for non-payment on child support or something. And then the next day he was joining the Ravens. So, I mean, is it just him being crazy?
Yeah, it's just him being crazy, just trying to put himself out there, just trying to keep relevant.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was too. I thought that it's just him trying to keep his name out there because, again, he's losing his relevance. Nobody gives two shits about this guy anymore. Let's say that I'm joining the Ravens. It kind of gets the football people, crazy and talking again. But as far as I'm concerned, this guy is an idiot and he's got to be gone. Just be gone.
He can't keep his name out of the headlines. He's doing what he can to stay relevant.
Absolutely. I'm going to move forward a little bit here in the NFL draft. We did have some Pitt Panther players. I do want to talk about these guys real quick in the draft. Of course, Kalijah Kancey goes in the first round, 19 to Tampa Bay. Also, the Jets, we know, loves Pitt players in Pittsburgh for whatever reason, but the Jets also take Carter Warren, an offensive tackle from the Panthers, and they also take Izzy. They got Israel Bandakanda. So that's two guys right there.
That's an underrated pick.
Absolutely. And it's the Jets digging into the pit well again, and they really got some good players out of that. Also, Servaka Dennis, the linebacker, he goes to Tampa Bay, joins Kancey. Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be interesting to watch what they could bring to the Tampa Bay. They recognize some defensive talent. Eric Hallett, cornerback, he went to Jacksonville, and Brandon Hill, he got drafted by the Houston Texans. He is a safety. So good luck to these fellas. Draft picks from Pitt, but that doesn't end right there. They also had a couple of undrafted free agents. Mm-hmm. Also, Baldonado, the defensive end, he goes to the Giants. Deslin Alexandre, he goes to the Jets as well. Gabe Huey went to the Bears. He's an offensive lineman. And finally, Jared Wayne goes to the Houston Texans to join his teammate Brandon Hill. Mm-hmm. I think that these guys are going to get some pretty good players. Yeah. They put together a nice little football team in Pittsburgh. I'd like to see them carry it over. And I think that some of these guys are shoo-ins. I really do. I think that Kancey's going to do things. I think that, so, and depending on what the Jets do, we see this team improving constantly and adding players and trying to get better. I don't know what their depth looks like, but you can also see, I see three guys right off the top here that are going to be on that Jets team from this Pitt Panther team. So
that's insane.
What
is it with the Jets always getting people from Pitt? It doesn't matter who's the GM.
Yeah.
They always get people from Pitt. It's just wild. You
got Jordan Whitehead up there right now as well, playing safety. Yeah. Also, Darrell Revis. The list really goes on.
It goes on and on. Penn State had a couple players drafted. I have them up. Can I talk about them?
I did. Where did I seen Mr. Quarterback? Where did he land?
Sean Clifford, 5th round to Green Bay.
That's Green Bay. Yes,
that's an underrated pick too.
I see. Yes. Oh God, I Sean Clifford, he's that quarterback I have the love-hate relationship with.
I know.
Half the time I hate him, half the time I love him. It's like, what are you doing? Oh, okay, you redeemed yourself.
Penn State football in general.
No, our quarterbacks, man, they do something great, then they also do something completely bonehead the next play, but then they make up for it by doing something good. He's going to be he'll be a good backup. He'll be a good backup. He's not going to be a starter. He's going to be a backup. He's going to be like
Jordan Love and Sean Clifford. Watch out. For it, though.
I think he'll do all right as a number 2. I think that's the peak of his career, and that's no slouch because number 2 quarterbacks play an awful lot now in today's NFL.
He's definitely a number 2, but I wouldn't.
What else you got? Who else?
I got tight end Bretton Strange in the second round to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
Drew Scruggs, offensive lineman. I think he played center for Penn State. Second round, Houston Texans. Those picks went back to back, by the way. Bretton Strange and Drew Scruggs. Third round. Talk about an underrated pick, Jair Brown, safety to the 49ers. Yeah. This guy is a ball hawk. He's not the fastest player, but his anticipation, his football IQ is off the chart, and he's not afraid to hit you. Then, like I said, 5th round, Sean Clifford. 6th round, to Jacksonville, Parker Washington. If he would have came out last year,
that's an underrated pick too.
Yeah, last year he would have been like a 3rd round pick. This year production went down, so he dropped to the 6th. That's a very good value pick. And then they had a couple free agent signings. Seattle Seahawks signed two, Jonathan Sutherland, a linebacker, and then they signed a long snapper and Chris Stoll. The Commanders signed Mitchell Tinsley, and then the Broncos signed defensive tackle PJ Mustafar. So a lot of local talent between Pitt and Penn State.
Congratulations to everybody mentioned. Good luck to everybody. Hope they just do well in the NFL.
Hold on. Derpy, or not Derpy, P. Morton. When we talking about Travis Kelce spiking the drinking and spiking the Lombardi, he goes, Travis wilding out. He's well on his way to herpes and a DUI. That's the quote of the year right there.
That's quote of the year right there.
I love it.
Won't be long. It won't be long, guys. But yes, congratulations to all the local people. I think that West Virginia only had one player get drafted. So
it's
they tend to call them local. I don't buy into that shit, but
they're closer than Penn State.
You know what? That's what I'm saying. I think Cleveland's closer than Penn State. That's why I hate when they do this. I
hate when people go, "Oh yeah, Penn State and Pittsburgh." Like that's the opposite ends of the state. People, right? He is fucking huge.
But so there you have it, everybody. College players. Good luck to all you guys. Hope to see tons in the NFL.
Oh, JJ officially retired.
JJ who?
Watt officially.
Oh, okay. I thought he officially retired a while ago.
We got to jump, guys. We're going to go to the USFL. I'm not going to cover every team. I am going to say the Maulers did pick up their first win.
Yes.
The Pittsburgh Maulers win 21-13 over the Philadelphia Stars. They do have players in the running for offensive player of the week, defensive player of the week, and special teams player of the week. All 3 positions. They have somebody up in the running for that. The guy that and the special teams, I think, is familiar to us here in Pittsburgh. Chris Blood, of course, the former kicker for the Pitt Panthers. He's tied a USFL record yesterday in the game, the win over Philadelphia, with five field goals in this football game. He is in the USFL record books. Congratulations, Chris. Also, the New Orleans Breakers are the only undefeated team left in the USFL.
No way. Wow.
In the XFL championship weekend, it was DC versus Seattle. That was the one I couldn't wait for. First was the Arlington Renegades and the Houston Roughnecks. I couldn't believe this one. The Arlington Renegades upset Houston 26-11. They are going to the championship to face the winner of the DC Defenders and Seattle Sea Dragons. Mike, DC is your team.
It is. Beer Snake all the way.
Beer Snake. They had the Beer Snake all the way up to the fence at the top. Everyone was excited. DC beat Seattle 37-21. Championship 2 weeks from this past weekend. So it's going to be Saturday, the 13th, whatever it is, that Saturday is. Yes, May 13th at San Antonio Alamo Dome is going to be the championship for the XFL. Check it out. The last XFL game of the year, DC versus Arlington.
Mike, we got about 6 minutes. I got to get some Pittsburgh Pirates scoop out here real quick. The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Let's do it.
They
Bucko
did over the
fever.
weekend. They played the Nationals. There was a lot of rain issues down there on Saturday. There was a rain out. Friday's game got rained out, so they played both games on Saturday. From game 1 and 2 of the series, the Pirates win 6-3 game 1. They win 16-1 in game 2, where Jack Sawinski hits a grand slam. Game 3,
it doesn't matter what the weather, but something special did happen.
Game 3, they did. They dropped one game 3. They lost 7-2 yesterday. In the third game of this series. Nonetheless, they still win the series. Another series win for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I think what Derpy is talking about is the Drew Maggi situation. Drew Maggi is the player that played in the minors for 13 years, finally gets a chance to play. He gets his very first hit. And you want to know something crazy about this hit? It scored the 13th run in that 16-1 game. He played 13 years in the minors before he got a chance, and his first hit scored the 13th run in the game that he got his first hit. I think that's really cool. But Drew Maggi probably won't be sticking around too much longer up in the majors. He will be getting sent back down. But you know what? For what it was worth, that's really awesome. And you know what? People loved it. It was a good story while it lasted. I'm going to give you a quick rundown here real quick. The 30-game point, of course, it's only at 29. We play game 30 tomorrow. These are some areas that the Pittsburgh Pirates lead in the NFL. They're first in their division. They're first in the National League. They're second best in the MLB, third best in run differential, fourth most runs scored, sixth fewest runs allowed, most stolen bases. Their closer leads the league in saves. Mitch Keller, their ace, leads the league in quality starts. And yes, Derpy, Austin Hedges even had an amazing defensive play.
I thought you weren't going to tell him. I
almost jumped out of my skin when this happened. The guy went to bunt the ball, and it literally, just kind of popped up. That Austin Hedges.
I wish I had him back.
It was a Troy Polamalu catch. Nothing short of what Troy Polamalu did to catch this out. Amazing. So all those things just mentioned, 1 month in, we got 5 months left, but at this point, it looks like they're not going to be the same team as they were in the past. That's still there's still a lot of baseball left.
Still a lot left.
62, 162.
But they are trending in the right direction. We haven't
seen
suckers play like this in a long time.
And you don't even have your O'Neal Cruz. You don't got Choi. I mean, there's some. I mean, we're even having issues, and we're still in a very great position at this point. Way too early May World Series does start tomorrow. That is, of course, between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Tampa Bay Rays. They are the two best teams in the Major League Baseball. They start a 3-game series tomorrow night. Very, very interesting. I think this is going to be big for baseball. I think it's going to get pretty nice ratings as far as people who enjoy baseball follow and just kind of enjoying this Pittsburgh Pirates ride. So that series starts tomorrow, guys. Pittsburgh Pirates at the Tampa Bay Rays.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought coming into the season this would be like a marquee matchup?
You're right.
Yeah.
It's blowing my mind.
And it's in our way too early May World Series. I mean, who would have thought that, right?
Exactly. I better go dig my tickets out of the trash can.
You better go dig them tickets out of the trash can. It was all fun and games till now, and they're doing well. But again, we will touch on that again Wednesday, because they will reach that 30-game point. And as I told Mike earlier this year, I like to break it down between 10s. And the first 2 10-game runs of the season went successful, and the third one is looking like it's going to finish up a success. It'd be nice if we could go down there and beat these guys in a 3-game series. Just win 2 games. That'd be amazing. So
take 2 out of 3. Like the Buccos, they're on 11 out of 13.
Yeah.
Right now.
Whew. And you know what? As far as our picks on the 9-game road trip, we're all still in it. I had the 4 and 5, which we're at 4 now. We have to get swept by the Rays for me to get it correct. Derpy is 5 and 4, which he would be a 1-win in a 2-loss series against the Rays. And Mike picked 6 and 3, which would be 2 wins, 1 loss.
Yeah.
2 wins, 1 loss in the Tampa Bay series. So we're all still alive in the current 9-game road span, and we come back after the Tampa Bay series. We're coming home to face Toronto, so that's coming up. Mike, we're at the 2-minute warning exactly. Why don't you tell everybody about the website?
2dumyinzers.com. The number 2, DUMYINZERS. That's the number 2, DUMYINZERS.com. Head on over there. We have links for everything you need for the 2 Dumb Yinzers. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, merchandise store, everything you need at 2dumyinzers.com. And F you, Bob Nutting, for ruining my Bob Nothing design by, having the team play well.
Unbelievable.
This is why I hate the Pirates right now. I should be overjoyed. My team of my youth is playing well, and I'm mad because I'm losing out on sales because of Bob Nutting.
They were the first team in the National League to 20 wins. There's, like I said, a lot going on. Mike, I did want to mention to you real quick before we do jump into trivia. Puff Johnson from Moon Township right here up the highway. He was a basketball player who played for North Carolina. He did transfer and he committed to Penn State. So
there we go.
Another local guy coming up there, Puff Johnson. He was with North Carolina last season.
I just love the name.
Right.
I just love it.
Well, yes. We'll leave that at that. But yes, check out the website, www.2dumyinzers.com. As Mike said, there's plenty of cool stuff over there. Go check it out. We got time for a trivia, guys. Today's trivia is going to be a Tampa Bay Rays trivia going into the way too early May World Series between the Pirates and the Tampa Bay Rays. The trivia question is going to be a Tampa Bay trivia. You guys ready?
Ready.
Trivia.
Now this question, I have to get Derpy up to date.
All right.
Now, Derpy, the 1998, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Arizona Diamondbacks became the expansion teams in the MLB. Okay. So with that being said, it was 1998. Keep that in mind. All right. You ready, guys? How many games did the Tampa Bay Devil Rays win in their very first season? Don't panic yet. I am going to give you choices. In 1998, how many games did the Tampa Bay Devil Rays win in their very first season? Was it A, 51 games? Was it B, 63 games? Was it C, 99 games? Or was it D, 114 games? I'm looking for the amount of games won by the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in 1998, the year they were an expansion team. How many wins in that first season? Was it 51, 63, 99, or 114? Go ahead and take a moment to think about it. Do you have any
I'm gonna go 51.
Any hypothesis? Is there any education? Could you put anything to this, or is this just going to be all guess?
This is all guess on my part. I'm going with 51.
51.
I'm gonna go by my gut. 51.
So both you guys
you just be copying my picks.
No, I'm gonna be real because.
All right, so Mike says 51.
No, you're good.
Derpy says 51.
63 would be too generous.
And on the board, P. Morton also says 51. So I'm going to get the three gentlemen locked in. And one for P.
Be 63
all right, there we go, guys. For the trivia.
Right? It would be wild.
For the trivia of the day, 1998 was the first year. How many games did the Tampa Bay Devil Rays win during their first season? Your choices were 51, 63, 99, and 114. Everybody said A, 51, which would be the sensible pick. Let's take a moment to see if they're correct. 98, how many games did Tampa Bay win in their first season? The answer is 63.
Oh.
And here's an interesting little statistic to go along with that. They finished 51 games behind the New York Yankees that year in the division, who ended up going on to win the World Series. Nonetheless, 51 games behind. Not bad for an expansion team, right?
No, not bad at all.
Not bad for an expansion team. Not good for anybody. Derpy, what do you got before we take off for a day, man?
Go support the Buccos on the home stretch.
Absolutely. And you know what? In this series coming up, if you want to watch some good baseball, hopefully, if anybody lays an egg in this series, it's Tampa Bay. Mike, what about you?
I got nothing. To be honest with you, I'm tired. I got nothing. But I'm bummed out the draft is over. Now I have to wait another 360 some odd days for it. I'm bummed. But hey, mock drafts for 2024 are already out. They have the Steelers on one side has the Steelers picking 10th overall.
I am so over this mock truck. Jeez. But hey, no, anyway.
It's way too early for me.
Thank you, everybody, for checking us out. The two Dum Yinzers. We hope that you continue to do so. For Mike, Ryan, Derpy, the two